25 Hollywood couples with age gaps that shocked the world, then and now. 2025. Hollywood loves fairy tales, but age gap relationships have always divided public opinion. Some call them true love without limits. Others see power, imbalance, or illusion. From couples who defied decades of judgment to romances that silenced critics through sheer longevity, these relationships shocked the world and forced us to question what really defines love. Is it age, timing, fame, or emotional connection? Today on Celebrity Couples Hollywood, we're breaking down the most talked about age gap couples and what really happened behind the headlines. Watch closely because your favorite love story might not be what it seems. Like, subscribe, and comment below. Do age gaps matter, or is love the only rule? Cary Grant and Diane Cannon. Cary Grant and Diane Cannon were one of Hollywood's most talked about and controversial couples, not because of scandal, but because their relationship challenged the era's rigid expectations about age, power, and love. When they married in July 1965, Grant was 61 years old, already a living legend of classic cinema, while Cannon was just 28, an ambitious actress still carving her identity in a male-dominated industry. The 33-year age gap instantly ignited public debate and media skepticism. At the time, Cary Grant was synonymous with sophistication, having starred in over 70 films, including North by Northwest, Charade, and Bringing Up Baby. Diane Cannon, by contrast, was early in her career, but determined not to be defined solely as Mrs. Cary Grant. Their marriage was intense, private, and emotionally complex, unfolding largely behind closed doors as Grant attempted to retire from acting and Cannon sought creative independence. In 1966, the couple welcomed their daughter, Jennifer Grant, a moment that briefly softened public criticism and suggested stability. Yet the pressures of their vastly different life stages soon became impossible to ignore. Grant desired control, routine, and withdrawal from Hollywood, while Cannon craved professional growth and autonomy. These opposing needs slowly fractured the relationship. By 1968, after just 3 years of marriage, Cannon filed for divorce, citing emotional strain rather than scandal. The split was painful but transformative. Cannon later described the marriage as both confining and formative, crediting it with sharpening her sense of self. Grant, deeply affected, never remarried again, remaining emotionally tied to his daughter until his death in 1986. Today, Cary Grant and Diane Cannon's relationship is remembered not as a failure, but as an early example of how age gap marriages expose deeper truths about identity, control, and personal freedom in Hollywood. Their story still sparks debate. Was it love, imbalance, or simply two people meeting at the wrong moment in life? Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones became one of Hollywood's most scrutinized couples the moment their relationship went public, largely due to their 25-year age gap. Yet over 2 decades later, they remain a defining example of longevity under pressure. The pair first met in 1998 at the Deauville Film Festival in France. Douglas, born in 1944, was already an Academy Award-winning actor and producer, while Zeta-Jones, born in 1969, was a rising Welsh star fresh off the success of The Mask of Zorro. Their chemistry was immediate. By 1999, they were engaged, and in August 2000, they welcomed their first child, Dylan Michael Douglas. Just 3 months later, in November 2000, they married in a lavish ceremony at New York's Plaza Hotel, attended by Hollywood's elite. In 2003, their family grew again with the birth of Caris Zeta Douglas. Despite their polished public image, their marriage faced serious trials. In 2010, Douglas was diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer, a life-threatening illness that tested their bond. Zeta-Jones stood firmly by his side during treatment. Later, in 2013, the couple briefly separated while Zeta-Jones sought treatment for bipolar II disorder, highlighting the emotional toll of balancing fame, illness, and family life. They reconciled in 2014 and have since spoken openly about the work required to sustain a long marriage. Their story reframed the age gap conversation, from skepticism to respect, showing that commitment, honesty, and shared resilience matter far more than numbers. Alec Baldwin and Hilaria Baldwin. Alec Baldwin and Hilaria Baldwin became one of the most discussed age gap couples of the 2010s, not only because of their 26-year difference, but because their relationship unfolded in the full glare of modern social media. The two met in February 2011 at the New York restaurant Pure Food and Wine. Baldwin, born in 1958, was already a veteran actor with decades of film, television, and theater success. Hilaria Thomas, born in 1984, was a yoga instructor and co-founder of Yoga Vida, far removed from Hollywood fame at the time. Their relationship progressed rapidly. They became engaged in April 2012 and married just 2 months later, on June 30, 2012, at St. Patrick's Old Cathedral in Manhattan. The speed of their courtship raised eyebrows, but the couple appeared united and intentional. Over the next decade, they built one of the largest families in celebrity culture, welcoming 7 children between 2013 and 2022. Public scrutiny intensified as Baldwin faced professional and legal turmoil, particularly following the 2021 Rust set tragedy, which placed extraordinary pressure on their private life. Through it all, Hilaria remained a constant public presence, often defending her husband and emphasizing family stability. Their marriage also endured reputational challenges, including controversies surrounding Hilaria's background, which the couple addressed directly rather than retreating from view. Despite criticism, Alec and Hilaria Baldwin have remained together, presenting their relationship as one built on partnership, parenting, and resilience. Their story illustrates how age gap marriages in the digital era face relentless public judgment, yet can persist when both partners commit to navigating controversy side by side. Bradley Cooper and Gigi Hadid. Bradley Cooper and Gigi Hadid surprised the public not with scandal, but with subtlety. First linked in October 2023, the pairing immediately drew attention due to their 20-year age gap and their status as high-profile single parents. Cooper, born in 1975, is an Oscar-nominated actor and director with a reputation for privacy. Hadid, born in 1995, is one of the most influential supermodels of her generation and a dominant figure in global fashion. Both entered the relationship from grounded life stages. Cooper shares a daughter, Leah, born in 2017, with model Irina Shayk. Hadid is the mother of Kai, born in 2020, from her previous relationship with singer Zayn Malik. According to reports from reputable outlets such as People and Entertainment Tonight, their connection was rooted in shared priorities: parenthood, discretion, and emotional maturity. Rather than embracing publicity, the couple kept a low profile. Sightings in New York City included quiet dinners, neighborhood walks, and family-oriented routines. Neither Cooper nor Hadid publicly confirmed details of their relationship, reinforcing the sense that it was intentionally shielded from spectacle. Observers noted that Hadid's independence and Cooper's grounded demeanor appeared complementary rather than contrasting. The age gap, while widely discussed online, seemed irrelevant to the dynamic they projected: two adults navigating fame with caution and intention. Whether long-term or momentary, Bradley Cooper and Gigi Hadid challenged the assumption that age gap relationships must be dramatic or performative. Their story suggests a quieter truth. Sometimes the most surprising Hollywood romances are the ones that refuse to be headlines at all. Chris Evans and Alba Baptista. Chris Evans and Alba Baptista quietly challenged Hollywood's obsession with age and image by building a relationship rooted in privacy rather than spectacle. The couple reportedly began dating in 2021, though their relationship was not publicly confirmed until late 2022, when Evans shared a subtle social media post acknowledging their bond. Evans, born in 1981, is 16 years older than Baptista, who was born in 1997, an age gap that immediately sparked online debate. At the time they met, Evans was globally recognized for his role as Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, having stepped back slightly from blockbuster work to prioritize personal balance. Baptista, meanwhile, was already an accomplished actress in Europe, fluent in multiple languages, and known internationally for her lead role in the Netflix series Warrior Nun. Far from being new to the industry, she had built a resume across Portuguese, French, and international productions. Unlike many celebrity couples, Evans and Baptista avoided red carpets and publicity. Their approach was deliberate, reflecting shared values around discretion and emotional grounding. In September 2023, multiple reputable outlets confirmed that the couple had married in a private ceremony in Massachusetts, attended by close friends and family, including several Marvel co-stars. The marriage shifted public perception. What initially drew skepticism became a conversation about maturity, mutual respect, and timing. Evans has since spoken about entering a phase of life centered on commitment and family, while Baptista has continued her acting career without being publicly defined by the relationship. Their story reframes the age gap narrative, not as controversy, but as compatibility formed away from noise. In an industry fueled by exposure, Chris Evans and Alba Baptista proved that choosing privacy can be the most radical move of all. Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble. Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble are a rare example of an age gap relationship that endured long enough to silence its critics. The couple met in August 2014 at a party in Ibiza, shortly after Jenner finalized her divorce from Caitlyn Jenner. Gamble, born in 1980, is 25 years younger than Jenner, who was born in 1955, a gap that initially fueled intense skepticism and speculation. At the time, Corey Gamble was largely unknown to the public, working as a music tour manager affiliated with Scooter Braun. Kris Jenner, on the other hand, was already one of the most powerful business figures in entertainment, the architect behind the Kardashian-Jenner empire. Many assumed the relationship would be short-lived, overshadowed by fame and generational differences. Instead, it stabilized. Gamble gradually became a consistent presence on Keeping Up with the Kardashians and its spin-offs, though he remained notably reserved. Jenner has repeatedly described Corey as calm, emotionally grounded, and supportive, qualities that contrasted sharply with the chaos surrounding her public life. Over time, he earned the trust of her children and integrated into a famously complex family dynamic. Despite years together, the couple has never married, a decision Jenner has openly framed as intentional rather than uncertain. Their relationship operates outside traditional expectations, emphasizing companionship over symbolism. Now, more than a decade later, Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble are no longer treated as a headline curiosity. Their longevity reframed the narrative from suspicion to acceptance, demonstrating that stability, not age, is what ultimately defines a partnership. David Cross and Amber Tamblyn. David Cross and Amber Tamblyn represent an age gap relationship that defied Hollywood expectations by grounding itself in intellect, activism, and mutual respect rather than spectacle. The couple met in 2008 during an airplane flight, an unlikely beginning that quickly evolved into a deep connection built on shared interests in comedy, literature, and social commentary. Cross, born in 1964, is 19 years older than Tamblyn, who was born in 1983, a gap that initially sparked curiosity but never defined their bond. At the time, Cross was already a respected figure in comedy, best known for Arrested Development and his sharp political satire. Tamblyn, meanwhile, had successfully transitioned from child actress to critically regarded performer, writer, and poet. Their relationship unfolded away from tabloid culture, marked by thoughtful conversations rather than red carpet theatrics. They married on October 6, 2012, in a small, nature-themed ceremony in California that reflected their preference for authenticity over extravagance. In 2017, they welcomed their daughter, Marlo Alice Cross, adding a new dimension to their partnership. Parenthood, rather than amplifying differences, appeared to strengthen their sense of balance. What sets Cross and Tamblyn apart is their shared public voice. Both have been outspoken advocates for social justice, gender equality, and political accountability. Tamblyn has frequently emphasized that her relationship is rooted in equality, directly addressing and rejecting assumptions that age gap partnerships imply imbalance. Rather than being overshadowed by numbers, their marriage has been defined by alignment, creative, ethical, and emotional. In an industry where age gap relationships are often reduced to novelty, David Cross and Amber Tamblyn stand as proof that shared values outlast public skepticism. David Foster and Katharine McPhee. David Foster and Katharine McPhee sparked immediate controversy due to their 35-year age gap, but their relationship ultimately reframed public assumptions about timing, maturity, and shared purpose. The two first met in 2006, when McPhee, born in 1984, competed on American Idol. Foster, born in 1949, was already a legendary music producer with 16 Grammy Awards to his name. At the time, their connection was strictly professional. More than a decade later, their paths crossed again under very different circumstances. Both had experienced divorces and personal reassessment. By 2017, their relationship had turned romantic, and in 2018, they confirmed their engagement. They married on June 28, 2019, in a ceremony in London, drawing global attention and intense debate. Despite criticism, the couple emphasized shared musical passion and emotional compatibility. McPhee, an accomplished singer and Broadway performer, continued her career independently, while Foster remained active in producing and philanthropy. In February 2021, they welcomed their son, Rennie David Foster, a milestone that softened much of the public skepticism surrounding their marriage. Foster has credited McPhee with bringing renewed energy and perspective into his later life, while McPhee has described the relationship as stable and creatively fulfilling. Their collaborations, both on stage and in charity work, reinforce the idea that their bond extends beyond romance. Rather than being defined by age, David Foster and Katharine McPhee illustrate how shared discipline, respect, and timing can transform controversy into longevity, challenging Hollywood's most persistent stereotypes. Dick Van Dyke and Arlene Silver. Dick Van Dyke and Arlene Silver became one of Hollywood's most surprising love stories, not because of scandal, but because of joy. When they met in 2006 at a Screen Actors Guild Awards event, Van Dyke was already a living legend. Born in 1925, known worldwide for Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and The Dick Van Dyke Show. Silver, born in 1971, was a professional makeup artist working the event. Their 46-year age gap instantly captured public attention. What began as a warm friendship slowly deepened over several years. Van Dyke has often said that Silver brought light, movement, and laughter back into his life, while Silver has described him as youthful in spirit and endlessly curious. In February 2012, after 6 years together, they married in a quiet Malibu ceremony. At the time, Van Dyke was 86 and Silver was 40, a pairing that defied every Hollywood expectation. Instead of retreating from scrutiny, the couple leaned into authenticity. They became known for dancing together, sharing playful moments in interviews, and appearing genuinely energized by one another's presence. Silver has spoken openly about encouraging Van Dyke to stay active, creative, and socially engaged, while Van Dyke credits her with helping him maintain vitality well into his 90s. More than a decade later, their marriage is widely admired. What once seemed shocking is now viewed as inspiring, proof that companionship, laughter, and emotional connection matter far more than age. Dick Van Dyke and Arlene Silver transformed skepticism into admiration, redefining what lasting love can look like at any stage of life. Elton John and David Furnish. Elton John and David Furnish didn't just challenge age gap assumptions, they reshaped how long-term same-sex partnerships were viewed in the public eye. The couple met in 1993 at a dinner party at Elton's home in Windsor. Elton John, born in 1947, was already a global music icon. David Furnish, born in 1962, was a Canadian advertising executive beginning to explore filmmaking. Their 15-year age difference was never the headline. Their emotional bond was. Their relationship grew steadily and privately. In 1997, Furnish directed Tantrums and Tiaras, an intimate documentary that revealed Elton's vulnerability and marked Furnish's creative presence in his life. When the UK introduced civil partnerships, the couple became one of the first to register in December 2005. In 2014, when same-sex marriage became legal in England, they officially married. Together, they built a family, welcoming 2 sons via surrogacy, Zachary in 2010 and Elijah in 2013. Parenthood marked a profound shift for Elton, who has credited Furnish with helping him transition from a life of excess to one grounded in stability and purpose. Beyond family, their impact is global. As co-leaders of the Elton John AIDS Foundation, they have helped raise hundreds of millions of dollars for HIV/AIDS prevention and treatment worldwide. Furnish remains deeply involved in Elton's career and philanthropy, operating as both partner and equal. Their story is not defined by age but by resilience, advocacy, and transparency. Elton John and David Furnish stand as one of the most enduring partnerships in modern celebrity history, built on trust, shared values, and unwavering commitment. Heidi Klum and Tom Cowlitz. Heidi Klum and Tom Cowlitz surprised Hollywood not just with their romance, but with how effortlessly they dismissed criticism surrounding their 16-year age gap, this time with the woman being older. Klum, born in 1973, was already a global supermodel, television host, and business powerhouse when she met Cowlitz, born in 1989, the guitarist for the German band Tokyo Hotel. The two met in 2018 through mutual friends connected to the fashion and music worlds, and their chemistry was immediate. Unlike many celebrity relationships that move cautiously under scrutiny, their romance accelerated quickly. By December 2018, they were engaged, and in February 2019, they quietly married in California. Later that year, they hosted a second, more public wedding celebration aboard a yacht off the coast of Capri, Italy. Rather than hiding from public opinion, Klum and Cowlitz embraced it with humor, affection, and confidence. What sets their relationship apart is balance. Klum, a mother of 4, has spoken openly about how naturally Cowlitz integrated into her family life. Cowlitz, in turn, has supported Klum's demanding career without appearing overshadowed by it. Their public appearances are marked by warmth and playfulness, reinforcing the image of a partnership built on joy rather than optics. Years into their marriage, the skepticism has largely faded. Heidi Klum and Tom Cowlitz reframed the age gap narrative by proving that energy, compatibility, and mutual respect outweigh conventional expectations, especially when love is unapologetically visible. Ice-T and Coco Austin. Ice-T and Coco Austin are one of the rare Hollywood age gap couples whose longevity has completely rewritten the narrative around skepticism and stereotypes. When they met in 2001 on the set of a music video in Los Angeles, Ice-T, born in 1958, was already an established rapper, actor, and cultural figure. Coco Austin, born in 1979, was a 21-year-old model and dancer just beginning to build her public identity. Their 21-year age gap immediately drew criticism, with many predicting the relationship would be short-lived. Instead, their bond moved quickly and decisively. Just 2 months after meeting, they married on December 31, 2001, in a low-key Las Vegas ceremony. What followed was not scandal, but stability. Over the next 2 decades, Ice-T and Coco became known for their unapologetic affection, open communication, and strong sense of partnership. Their relationship gained wider visibility through the reality series Ice Loves Coco, 2011 to 2013, which showcased a marriage defined by humor, loyalty, and mutual admiration, rather than dominance or imbalance. In November 2015, they welcomed their daughter, Chanel Nicole, marking a new chapter that further softened public judgment. Ice-T has repeatedly credited Coco with bringing warmth and emotional balance into his life, while Coco has described Ice-T as a steady, protective, and deeply involved husband and father. Though often polarizing online, the couple has remained unshaken by external opinions. Today, Ice-T and Coco Austin are no longer viewed as a curiosity. Their marriage stands as proof that consistency, respect, and emotional alignment, not age, are what sustain a relationship in the long run. Jason Statham and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. Jason Statham and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley exemplify a modern age gap relationship built on discretion, mutual respect, and long-term commitment rather than publicity. The couple first met in 2010, introduced through social circles in London. Statham, born in 1967, was already an internationally recognized action star, while Huntington-Whiteley, born in 1987, was a rising supermodel transitioning into acting. Their 20-year age gap initially attracted attention, but the couple never leaned into controversy. Instead, they let time define their story. They made their red carpet debut later in 2010, then gradually retreated from overexposure. In January 2016, they announced their engagement, though they chose not to rush into a public wedding. Their focus shifted toward building a family rather than satisfying Hollywood expectations. In June 2017, they welcomed their son, Jack Oscar Statham, followed by their daughter, Isabella James, in February 2022. Parenthood solidified their partnership and reshaped public perception, from skepticism to admiration. Both have spoken about prioritizing stability, privacy, and grounded routines away from industry noise. Huntington-Whiteley has praised Statham's calm demeanor and sense of humor, while Statham has described her as intelligent, independent, and emotionally strong. Their relationship avoids spectacle, rarely relying on social media for validation. Rather than challenging norms loudly, Jason Statham and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley dismantled them quietly. Their story proves that age gap relationships don't need drama to endure. Sometimes, silence and consistency speak louder than headlines. Jeff Goldblum and Emily Livingston. Jeff Goldblum and Emily Livingston represent an age gap relationship that evolved quietly into a grounded family life, defying expectations through consistency rather than spectacle. The couple met in 2011 at an Equinox gym in Los Angeles. Goldblum, born in 1952, was already a veteran actor celebrated for roles in Jurassic Park, The Fly, and Independence Day. Livingston, born in 1983, was a former Olympic rhythmic gymnast and professional dancer. Their 30-year age gap immediately drew attention, but neither leaned into public commentary. Their relationship progressed steadily. In July 2014, Goldblum proposed, and the couple married on November 8, 2014, in a private ceremony in Los Angeles. Soon after, their life shifted toward family. They welcomed their first son, Charlie Ocean, in 2015, followed by their second son, River Joe, in 2017. Goldblum became a first-time father in his early 60s, a milestone he has openly described as life-altering. Rather than slowing down, Goldblum embraced fatherhood with enthusiasm, often crediting Livingston's energy and balance for enriching his later years. Livingston continued her creative work in choreography and aerial performance while maintaining a low public profile. Together, they cultivated a home life centered on curiosity, creativity, and humor. What once seemed unconventional gradually became admired. Jeff Goldblum and Emily Livingston reframed the age gap conversation by showing how maturity, patience, and shared curiosity can create stability at any stage of life. Jerry Seinfeld and Jessica Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld and Jessica Seinfeld built one of Hollywood's longest-lasting marriages, despite an early wave of controversy surrounding their 17-year age difference. The couple met in 1998 at a gym in New York City. Jerry Seinfeld, born in 1954, was at the height of fame following the final seasons of Seinfeld. Jessica Sklar, born in 1971, was navigating a major life transition when they met, which immediately placed their relationship under scrutiny. Despite public skepticism, their bond strengthened quickly. They married on December 25, 1999, in a private ceremony. Over the next several years, they built a family, welcoming 3 children, Sasha, Julian, and Shepard. Parenthood shifted the public narrative from controversy to stability as the couple retreated from celebrity excess and focused on domestic life. Jessica Seinfeld forged her own identity, becoming a best-selling author and founder of the Good Plus Foundation, a nonprofit that has donated millions of essential items to families in need. Jerry, meanwhile, continued performing stand-up and producing television, often crediting Jessica with bringing emotional balance and grounding into his life. More than 2 decades later, their marriage is rarely questioned. Jerry and Jessica Seinfeld demonstrate how longevity, shared values, and purpose can eclipse early criticism, proving that time, not age, ultimately defines commitment. Kevin Kline and Phoebe Cates. Kevin Kline and Phoebe Cates are often cited as one of Hollywood's quietest, yet most enduring age gap relationships, precisely because they rejected the industry's obsession with visibility. The couple first met in 1983 during auditions for The Big Chill. Although Cates did not land a role in the film, the encounter sparked a connection that would eventually grow into a lifelong partnership. Kline, born in 1947, was already an accomplished stage actor and rising film star, while Cates, born in 1963, was becoming one of the most recognizable actresses of the 1980s. Their 16-year age gap was noted, but never sensationalized. They began dating in 1985 and married on March 5, 1989, choosing a private ceremony over Hollywood spectacle. As Kline's career continued to flourish, earning him an Academy Award for A Fish Called Wanda in 1989, Cates made a decision that sharply contrasted industry norms. In the early 1990s, she stepped away from acting almost entirely to focus on raising their children, Owen and Greta. This choice reshaped the public narrative around their marriage. Rather than being defined by ambition or fame, their relationship became centered on stability and intention. Kline remained active in film and theater, while Cates later pursued entrepreneurship, opening the Blue Tree Boutique in New York City. Their children were raised largely outside the spotlight, with Greta eventually emerging as a successful musician under the name Frankie Cosmos. Decades later, Kevin Kline and Phoebe Cates remain married, scandal-free, and fiercely private. Their story challenges Hollywood's fixation on constant reinvention, proving that longevity often comes from choosing family over fame and privacy over performance. Leonardo DiCaprio and Vittoria Ceretti. Leonardo DiCaprio and Vittoria Ceretti became one of the most discussed age gap pairings of the mid-2020s, not because of public declarations, but because of what they refuse to do: explain themselves. First linked in August 2023, the Oscar-winning actor and the Italian supermodel were spotted together in Ibiza, followed by sightings in Milan, Paris, New York, and Los Angeles. DiCaprio, born in 1974, is 24 years older than Chiretti, born in 1998, a difference that immediately reignited long-running debates around his dating history. What sets this relationship apart, however, is Chiretti's stature. Far from being a newcomer, she is one of the most respected high-fashion models of her generation, having walked for Chanel, Versace, Dior, Prada, and appeared on the covers of Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. Insiders noted that the pairing felt markedly different, less performative, more grounded. Chiretti herself has spoken publicly about the pressures placed on women in age-gap relationships, criticizing narratives that reduce them to accessories rather than autonomous adults. DiCaprio, famously private, never commented publicly. Instead, the couple maintained a low-key presence, favoring private travel and avoiding red carpet confirmations. By 2024 to 2025, their continued appearances together suggested consistency rather than a fleeting headline. Rather than silencing criticism, their relationship reframed it. Leonardo DiCaprio and Vittoria Chiretti became a flashpoint for a larger conversation about agency, maturity, and why age gaps provoke outrage only when stripped of context. Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead represent one of Hollywood's most scrutinized yet ultimately resilient age gap relationships. The two met in 2016 while filming Season 3 of Fargo, where their on-screen chemistry quietly evolved into a personal connection. McGregor, born in 1971, is 14 years older than Winstead, born in 1984, a gap that became a focal point only after their relationship went public. In 2017, both actors separated from their long-term partners, a timing that fueled tabloid backlash and intense public judgment. Early reactions framed the relationship as controversial rather than contextual, often ignoring the complexity of adult relationships unfolding under constant surveillance. Despite this, McGregor and Winstead continued forward, choosing discretion over defense. Over time, the narrative softened. In June 2021, they welcomed their son, Laurie, signaling a shift toward family life. The following year, in April 2022, the couple quietly married, avoiding spectacle and public announcements. Their approach mirrored the tone of their relationship: measured, intentional, and private. Professionally, they continued collaborating, appearing together in projects such as Birds of Prey and later adaptations, reinforcing the sense of mutual respect and creative alignment. Winstead has spoken about personal growth and emotional clarity, while McGregor emphasized rebuilding stability beyond public opinion. Today, Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead stand as an example of how time, not headlines, ultimately defines legitimacy, transforming early controversy into quiet endurance. Madonna and Guy Ritchie. Madonna and Guy Ritchie were once positioned as a cultural power couple. Music royalty meets British cinematic grit. Yet their marriage revealed how fame, ambition, and identity can collide behind closed doors. The pair met in 1998 and married on December 22, 2000, at Skibo Castle in Scotland. Madonna, born in 1958, was 10 years older than Ritchie, born in 1968, a gap that attracted commentary but never dominated their narrative. At the time, Madonna was already a global icon with decades of reinvention behind her. Ritchie was an ascendant director following the success of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. Their union appeared complementary at first. They welcomed a son, Rocco Ritchie, in August 2000, and later adopted David Banda from Malawi in 2006, expanding their family and public commitments. However, as the years progressed, differences surfaced. Madonna's hyper-global career and spiritual pursuits contrasted sharply with Richie's preference for a more grounded British lifestyle. In October 2008, after nearly 8 years of marriage, they announced their divorce, finalized later that year. Both cited irreconcilable differences, emphasizing respect while acknowledging the strain of merging two powerful identities. Post-divorce, Richie refocused on filmmaking and personal growth, while Madonna continued her relentless artistic evolution. Their relationship is now viewed less as a failure and more as a case study in how two dominant creatives can love deeply yet struggle to coexist long-term, especially when neither is willing to shrink for the other. Madonna and Alex Rodriguez. Madonna and Alex Rodriguez became one of the most controversial celebrity pairings of the late 2000s, not because of confirmed romance, but because of timing, perception, and relentless media speculation. In 2008, Rodriguez, born in 1975, was a superstar MLB player married to Cynthia Scurtis, while Madonna, born in 1958, was still married to Guy Ritchie. The 17-year age gap was secondary to the larger controversy surrounding overlap. Rumors intensified after Rodriguez was seen attending Madonna's concerts and visiting her New York residence. Tabloids quickly framed the situation as an affair, and Rodriguez's divorce filing in July 2008 cited marital breakdown, with media outlets repeatedly linking Madonna as a contributing factor. Madonna, however, publicly denied any romantic involvement, stating to People magazine that she was not romantically connected to Rodriguez. Despite denials, speculation continued when Madonna and Richie announced their separation in October 2008, just months after Rodriguez's divorce proceedings began. No concrete evidence ever substantiated claims of an affair, and neither Madonna nor Rodriguez confirmed a relationship. Over time, the narrative cooled, reframed as an example of how coincidental timing can become combustible under celebrity scrutiny. Both figures moved on independently. Madonna continued dating high-profile partners, while Rodriguez later entered and exited a very public engagement with Jennifer Lopez. Their brief association remains a reminder of how fame can distort proximity into presumption. Ultimately, Madonna and Alex Rodriguez were less a romance than a media phenomenon, illustrating how speculation can overshadow truth when celebrity lives intersect at volatile moments. George Clooney and Amal Clooney. George Clooney and Amal Clooney didn't just challenge Hollywood's age gap narrative, they redefined it. The couple met in July 2013 at Clooney's Lake Como home. Clooney, born in 1961, was long considered Hollywood's most eligible bachelor. Amal Alamuddin, born in 1978, was already an internationally respected human rights lawyer. Their 17-year age gap was quickly overshadowed by something far more compelling: equality. Their relationship progressed rapidly but deliberately. They became engaged in April 2014 and married in September 2014 in Venice, Italy. The wedding marked a turning point in Clooney's life, signaling a shift from celebrity detachment to intentional partnership. In June 2017, they welcomed twins, Alexander and Ella, deepening their shared commitment. Unlike many celebrity marriages, theirs is built on parallel achievement. Amal continues her work at the International Criminal Court and teaches law, while George balances acting, directing, and advocacy. Together, they founded the Clooney Foundation for Justice, focusing on accountability, press freedom, and human rights protection worldwide. Their marriage is rarely framed as glamorous romance alone. Instead, it's viewed as a union of intellect, ethics, and purpose. George and Amal Clooney proved that age gaps fade when respect, substance, and shared values take center stage. After hearing these stories, one question remains impossible to ignore. Were these relationships built on love or circumstance? Some couples proved critics wrong with decades of commitment, while others exposed how fragile fame-fueled romance can be. Age may be just a number, but power, timing, and life stages tell a deeper story. So now it's your turn. Which couple surprised you the most, and which one never convinced you? Do you believe age gap relationships can truly be equal, or are they destined for imbalance? Drop your honest opinion in the comments and debate with our community. This is Celebrity Couples Hollywood, where love stories never end quietly. George Clooney and Amal Clooney.